guys, I'm the Great Jedi and welcome back to the channel. So, at Star Wars Celebration, they announced 3 new live-action Star Wars films, as well as a brand new timeline era that looks like this. And it goes all the way back from the Dawn of the Jedi to the New Jedi Order. Now, in regards to what era these 3 new Star Wars movies are in, what they're about, and who's working on them, Dave Filoni will be making his own movie set in the New Republic era that will pull together threads from the Disney Plus shows that he's been working on, such as The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka, just to name a few. Then James Mangold will also be making his own movie, which is set back to the Dawn of the Jedi, and will be telling his tale of the first Jedi to wield the Force. And finally, Charmine's movie, sorry if I mispronounced the name, will be in the New Jedi Order era, which takes place 15 years after the events of Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, and it will feature Daisy Ridley back as Rey as she builds a new Jedi Order. So yeah, you heard me right. You guys probably thought I was clickbaiting you or something by the thumbnail and title, but no. We're pretty much getting Star Wars Episode 10 of the Skywalker Saga. Even though they're not calling it that we know of, that's pretty much what it is, since Disney Star Wars says that Rey is a Skywalker and it's the Skywalker Saga. So it's ultimately Episode 10, but it's not coming in the form of a trilogy, I guess. It's one movie. And a Disney lover might say, "Great, they can have a standalone story film like they did Solo." Well, sorry to break it to you, but Solo isn't a Skywalker. That's like having a movie about Luke building a new Jedi Order after Episode 6 and then saying it's not Episode 7 of the Skywalker Saga. That would sound really weird. And hopefully you're following me here, because I'm saying this stuff in the context of what Disney put out. Because, I mean, Rey isn't actually a Skywalker, but Disney obviously seems to disagree with that, and they own the rights, so that's technically what's canon. But anyways, you get the point. This concept is ridiculous. I hope it flops and people don't go see it. I'm not gonna see it. I know a lot of people still will see it because it has the Star Wars name slapped on it, and some people just don't have any self-discipline and want to support Disney Star Wars. I know some people like the sequel trilogy, and okay, cool. I don't really see how, but good for you. I just hope the movie fails, because it's really hard for anything with the Star Wars name on it to actually bomb and fail, but it can still bomb in Disney's eyes by the movie not performing as well as they hoped, like Solo. And then maybe, that's a strong maybe, Disney might finally get the hint that their sequel trilogy is absolute garbage, and the vast majority of Star Wars fans, from what I was able to gather, don't want to see that. We don't want to see the content that you're putting out, Disney. We don't want to see our money and the talent within Lucasfilm go towards the sequels, or Star Wars Visions, or Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures, or even the Sid Show. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. But even if you do like the sequel trilogy, it just really seems to me that Disney Star Wars is contradicting themselves once again with this Episode 10 film, and really even rehashing the past movies such as the prequels, because in Episode 9, Disney seems to believe that Rey Skywalker has brought balance to the Force, and according to the director, the movie we'll call Episode 10 will be centered around rebuilding the Jedi Order and the powers that rise to tear it down. So it also seems that it's going to be the prequels all over again, because if there's anything we've learned from the prequels, and Rey should know this, is that we don't need a Jedi Order that's filled with all kinds of ridiculous man-made codes and arrogance. It's just repeating history. We already saw how all that went, so are they just trying to repeat it? Like, I don't get it. Even if you did like the sequel trilogy, doesn't this project just sound like it's contradicting what they just did in the sequels? But anyways, that's enough talking about Episode 10 for this video. Let's talk about why I'm not interested in the other 2 movies as well. So with the Mangold's film, the one that takes place at the Dawn of the Jedi, Mangold said that he thought about a biblical epic, like the 10 Commandments and the Dawning of the Force. And then he started coming up with questions like, where did the Force come from? When did we discover it? And when did we know how to use it? And then he said a story just started developing, and it will be set 25,000 years before the original Star Wars, which is Episode 4, A New Hope, for those that don't know. And just what he said alone just makes me not want to see it, because it's just another person who doesn't understand Star Wars. At least the Star Wars that George Lucas made, because the way he's thinking of the Force is all wrong. Like, first off, you said it was about the first Jedi to wield the Force, and then now he's talking about the origin of the Force. Well, what does that mean? That didn't happen at the same time. That just tells me that he doesn't understand the basics of what a Jedi is, because there were a lot of iterations of Force users before the term Jedi even existed. It wasn't like the first Force user became a Jedi. It wasn't even like there was that term Jedi. Also, he's using an analogy of a biblical epic, which honestly, I'm all for it, because that was what George Lucas's whole idea and explanation of the Force was. But Mangold is using it in the wrong context. The Force wouldn't be like the 10 Commandments. The Force would be like God. There isn't a beginning to the Force. There always was the Force. So it'd be like God. Someone didn't create God. God just always was. That's literally like the title. So I don't know why he's asking where did the Force come from and him trying to implement that in his story. Like, it's crazy. You don't just change everything. It's frustrating, but I'm not surprised. I mean, even without all this information, just based off of the past decade of content that Disney Star Wars has given us, we can obviously see that they hire people that don't know Star Wars. Just because someone is good and talented at making movies, it doesn't mean they're good at making Star Wars material. Like J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson, they're very talented at what they do, but they made horrible Star Wars decisions. Same can be said about Robert Rodriguez with the Book of Boba Fett. And even if you do know Star Wars, there can be mistakes, like Filoni. You know how many he's made? A lot. And I'm starting to actually get more of a sense that he doesn't know Star Wars all that well, as I'm starting to see more and more things that seem obvious to me. But even in the Clone Wars show, they were able to surround themselves with a team that knows Star Wars. So if someone made a mistake, someone could speak up and correct someone, and that saves the lore. For example, Sam Witwer is a great example, and for those that don't know who he is the Darth Maul and Palpatine voice actor in the Clone Wars. He also played Starkiller in Force Unleashed, and really so much more. He's very involved with Star Wars. But the same thing is happening with these people with the new movies. They're talented, like Mangold's done Logan, Indiana Jones, and the Dial of Destiny, but that doesn't mean he's going to make a good Star Wars film. And the same thing with Charmin. But that just goes to prove my point that you've got to know Star Wars and have the team that's surrounding you know Star Wars as well, because mistakes happen, that's fine. But you shouldn't have this mentality of, let's hire people who have never seen Star Wars to work on Star Wars projects because we want a different point of view. That's ridiculous. Which, by the way, if that does sound ridiculous to you, that's actually what Disney has said and done about the Acolyte show, and obviously it's not limited to just that. Like, you know how many Star Wars fans have different points of view, Disney? You don't go hiring a team of people who don't know Star Wars. But it's like I said, it's this type of stuff that Disney Star Wars has been doing, and they're not going to stop. I hope they do, right? But I don't see why there's people saying, let's stay positive and go see the movie anyway because there's a chance it can be good. Like, dude, wake up. We've been given bad lore and now bad stories for a while now. I touched a bit on this in my watch party update. I mean, believe it or not, I'm actually a very positive person, but I'm not gonna sit there and just say, thank you, Disney, for giving me the Book of Boba Fett show when it's like absolute garbage. Like, yeah, the concepts of the ideas are really cool, but their execution is horrible. But anyways, that's just my quick 2 cents about this news and how I'm not excited for these new movies at all, and the fact I'm probably not going to see them. And I know a lot of us might have some hope with that Filoni movie, but given how the Star Wars Disney Plus shows haven't been hitting lately, or really just in general, not even necessarily lately, and that they're moving away from like George Lucas Star Wars and now they're heading towards whatever this Filoni-verse is, and the fact it's taking place in the New Republic era, are all great signs to see that this may also be bad. Anyways, that's gonna do it for this video. If you did enjoy it and want to stay up to date on all Star Wars news, including all the things at Star Wars Celebration, please consider subscribing and liking the video. Only if you enjoyed, of course. It's completely free, and if you didn't like it, that's cool too. Feel free to give the video a dislike and leave any constructive criticism for me in the comments on how to make this content better. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and may the Force be with you always.
Hello there. You are no match for me. Your move.